Today, I'm sharing some pro-level Disney World tips that could mean the difference between going to be our guest and trying the gray stuff, and having a disappointment burger at Cosmic Ray's Starlight Cafe. No offense to Sunny Eclipse, we stand a legend. Of course, I'm talking about Advanced Dining Reservations, or ADRs. If you want to dine at some of Disney World's most in-demand restaurants like Space 220, Cinderella's Royal Table, and Be Our Guest, you'll want to make reservations as early as possible ahead of your vacation. I'm James from Guide to WDW, and in this video, I'm going to share how many days in advance ADRs open up, what time of day you should try to get the most coveted reservations, plus some tips that should give you a huge turkey leg up on the competition. And if you haven't been to Disney World in a few years, these rules have changed. So let's dig in. How many days ahead of time do ADRs open up? Advanced Dining Reservations at Disney World open for all guests 60 days ahead of time. However, if you're staying at a Walt Disney World resort, you can make these reservations earlier. I'll get into that in a bit. Because of this 60-day window, on guidetowdw.com, we recommend trying to plan your Disney World vacation at least 2 months ahead of time to be able to get the dining reservations that you want for your trip. What time do ADRs open up? Reservations become available at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, so make sure you set a reasonable amount of alarms. Now, 6 a.m. is Disney's stated official time for reservations to open up, but it's fairly common advice to get online even earlier. We usually make sure that we are online and logged in by 5:45 a.m. Eastern. Sometimes the system will release the dining reservations early. Plus, this lets us troubleshoot any issues we might be having with our internet or our newfangled computing devices. That brings us to the big advantage that Disney World resort guests have. If you are staying at a Disney World resort or eligible third-party hotel, you can start making dining reservations for your entire vacation starting 60 days from the first day of your trip. This is the day that you'll check into your hotel. This gives resort guests a huge edge when it comes to making dining reservations. First, you can actually make reservations more than 60 days ahead of time thanks to this. For example, if you're staying for 5 nights, you can make reservations for the last day of your trip 65 days ahead of time. This works for stays up to 10 nights long, which is known as the 60+10 rule, meaning that the most in advance you could possibly make a reservation is 70 days ahead of time. The other advantage is that you can make reservations for your entire trip at once, so you don't have to wake up consecutive days 60 days out to make reservations for each day of your trip. Should I call or should I use the app? You should always use Disney World's app or website if possible. Like I mentioned, reservations become available at 6 a.m. However, Disney World's reservation phone line doesn't open until 7 a.m. Eastern. I did a few scientific calculations, and it turns out that this is a whole hour later. Plus, there'll be a long wait where you hear some of your favorite attraction music, and then learn to hate it after it loops for the 3rd time.
Not again.
But if you're having internet problems or other issues, you definitely should call, and a cast member will help you make all the reservations that you need. It just might hurt your chances of getting a really hard to get ADR. Okay, now that you know the basics, here's Guide to WDW's dining reservation strategy. Before ADR day, roughly plan out each day of your vacation. Pick which park you want to visit and if you want to make any dining reservations for that day. You can download our free Disney World Pocket Planner and use our template. The link is in the description. I recommend trying to have the hard-to-get reservations at the end of your trip. You'll see why. On ADR day, which is 60 days before the start of your trip, start making reservations working backwards, from the last day of your trip to the first. Why? Because you'll be able to make these reservations at the end of your trip the most number of days in advance. This means that you'll have the best shot possible for the most in-demand reservations. On my last vacation, I was able to secure reservations for Space 220, Topolino's Terrace, and Chef Mickey's doing this method. Here's a really important tip. Just getting a dining reservation inside a certain theme park doesn't mean that you can get in. You also need a park pass reservation. Once you've made all of your dining reservations, make sure that you adjust your park reservations so that you can actually use your ADRs. This will be less of an issue in 2024 when date-based tickets won't need park reservations anymore. Do you have to make dining reservations 60 days ahead of time? No, This just gives you the best bet at getting a reservation at restaurants like Ohana, California Grill, and Le Cellier. But it's by no means a requirement for planning a Disney World vacation. There are plenty of great restaurants that are easy to get reservations at, like Skipper Canteen or 50's Primetime Cafe. Do I have to wake up so early? That's a question I ask myself every day since having kids. But unlike me, the answer for you is no. If you don't want to wake up early or worry about all this planning, you can always work with a Disney authorized travel agent. Check out the link in the description to work with the official travel agency of Guide to WDW. They can do all the planning for you and make your dining reservations for no extra cost to you. You also might get lucky checking for last-minute cancellations. In fact, we have an entire other video on what to do at Disney World if you can't get a dining reservation, which you can watch here. I'll see you real soon.